Hi, fourth graders. This is an exciting video because it is going to be our last math lesson of fourth grade. So please stay with me in working with our last lesson where we are going to be joining and separating angles. So you guys have been working for the last few days on finding angles. We looked at them in circles, we measured them on protractors, and now we're going to be looking at angles and figuring out how we can take 2 or 3 or 4, however many angles, and put them together into one larger angle. And then we're going to have one large angle, and we're going to break it up into separate ones. So right here, you can see that I have an acute angle. It's less than 90 degrees. And what you're going to get is you're going to get a problem where an angle is split up. It doesn't necessarily have to be in half. It can be split anywhere. And what's going to happen is you are going to know that, let's say that this angle is 15 and this angle is 20. And then it's going to have another little part right here that might have an X or a letter. And it's going to say, find the angle of X. Now, all you have to do is you have to figure out, okay, well, if this piece right here is 15 and this piece right here is 20, that means the whole thing, that means this angle is 35 degrees because you are just adding or joining those two angles together. Now, this is something that we've been working on. It's just a little bit different because you're seeing exact numbers. But when we were working with the circles, and when you found out that one piece of the circle was 12, like on your quiz yesterday, I'm sorry, there was 12 pieces, once you know one, you can add them all up. Same thing here. They just sometimes could be the same, sometimes they could be different, but the main point is that when you know pieces of the angle, you can add them together to find out what the whole angle is, or the larger angle. Right here we have an obtuse angle. I know that because even if I were to turn it to see it better, I see that this is way bigger than 90 degrees. Now let's say that this is split up. All right, and let's say that this is, now these are absolutely not exact, I'm just freehanding this. Let's say that this angle is 30 and this angle is I'm so sorry, 35, sorry. And then this angle right here almost looks close to 90. So let's see. If I know what these different angles are, I can figure out this whole thing. I can figure out that original large angle that we were talking about. And all I have to do is add these little angles together. I just join them all together. So I take 30 plus 90 plus 35, 30 plus 90 plus 35, and then I would add all these together. 9 plus 3 is 12, 12 plus 3 is 15. So my whole thing is worth 155 degrees. So all you really are doing when you're joining angles is taking as many angles as there are and trying to find the larger one by adding. The second thing you're going to be working on today is separating angles. So this kind of reminds me of when you were working with perimeter, and it would give you the large perimeter, it would give you the perimeter of the whole thing, and you were trying to find a missing side. That's exactly what separating angles is like. So let's see here. I'm looking at our angle, and I can see that it's an obtuse angle because remember a right angle would be about like right here because it's like an L. It has that perfect 90 degrees. So in an angle that you're trying to separate, what it's going to do is it's going to give you the whole angle, that larger piece. So remember, in this one, we were taking smaller pieces and putting them together to find the area or the degrees of the larger angle. Here, we are going to know the whole thing. We're going to know that large angle right off the bat. And let's say it was 115 degrees. And let's say it also gives us this other angle of 75 degrees. So now what's going to happen is we need to figure out what this angle is right in here. Because if this is 75 and the whole thing is 115, all we have to do is subtract. Remember, just like perimeter, if you know the perimeter of the whole thing, subtract what you do know. So if the whole thing is worth 115, and I already know 75 degrees, I just subtract to figure out this one right here. 5 minus 5 is 0. 11 minus 7. You can do that, or you could break this up, whatever way is best for you. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 40. Obviously, my angles are not correct, but just take this as it comes. So, if I were to add these two angles together, they would equal 115 degrees. So, remember, if you are separating angles, you are just trying to figure out, you're basically separating these two angles that were together for 115 and separating them to try to find the missing one. I'll try one more. This angle right here we can see is another acute angle because it's less than 90 degrees. And let's say that this one is split up into 3. All right, and let's say that this is 15 and this is 25. And we know that the whole thing is 70 degrees. So let's see. Remember we talked about we're going to add what we do know. We do know that these two angles together right here would be added up because that would help us figure out what this piece is right here. So if we have 25 plus 15, that would mean that we know 40 of the 70 degrees. So now we subtract. Now some of you can easily do this in your head. That's awesome. If not, that's okay too. We can write it out to make sure you get the answer correct. So if we know about 40 degrees and the whole thing 70 degrees, we're going to subtract. We're going to find the difference. So 70 minus 40. And we get 30. So that means this piece here is 30. Now you can double check your work and add these all together to make sure that you separated it correctly. So let's see. 25 plus 30 is 55, and 30 plus 15 is 70. So that means that we found the correct missing piece right here. So today when you're working, when you're joining angles, remember that you're just adding the angles together to find the larger one. If you're separating angles, you already know the larger piece. Your job is to subtract what you do know to find that missing piece. Good luck today, guys. I know you're going to do great. And that is it. Last video of 4th grade. Bye.